Do you want to take your ride from this? Look at that wheel gap. To this?
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs.
I went with lowering springs from TEIN, as I've had good luck with them in the past. Lowering springs are what you're after when you're on a budget. They're usually pretty cheap as long as you're willing to put in the effort, and what you will get is what's known as a static ride, as in it's unchangeable. You could go coilovers if you have a much bigger budget, and then you would still have normal suspension travel and adjustable ride height, or you could go with bags or hydraulics and do all kinds of crazy things. I went with springs because, well, I'm broke, and I think they're easily the best value per dollar. First, we've got some work to do. Grab your jack stands and get that baby in the air, as high as safely possible for this job. If you're doing all 4 springs, remove all 4 wheels. Once that's out of the way, you're going to see a strut. This component assembly contains the shock and spring. We first want to remove these 2 bolts on the upper part of the knuckle. This area, by the way, is where you would adjust your camber, so when we're all the way done, we definitely will need to get a wheel alignment. I'm going to leave the lower bolt as a placeholder so I can remove anything else related to the strut. This is the ABS cable, and this here is a ground strap. Now we can remove the lower bolt and pivot the knuckle out of the way. See how the bottom of the strut is free? I'm also going to remove the brake caliper mounting and secure it out of the way so we get more play in the knuckle. This might not be totally necessary with your application, but better safe than sorry. Next we'll move to the upper mounting nuts on the strut tower. There are usually 3 nuts on a strut, so look for a triangular pattern under the hood. The passenger side on this car is covered by all this stuff here, but the driver's side is relatively free as far as this car goes. Once you have them all loose, remove 2 and let the shock hang by a couple of threads on the 3rd. This will make it easier to remove the strut. Now just reach under the fender and grab the strut with one hand while you remove the remaining nut with the other. Be ready to catch it as it does weigh a few pounds. There you have it, 1 strut assembly. Next we'll need to grab the spring compressors. Side note here, a lot of people are skeptical or wary of these spring compressors, but I've never had an issue with them. Just keep a watchful eye on the tool and look for any shifting or sketchiness in general. The idea here is that we want to compress the spring safely so that tension is removed from the top plate of the strut. You never want to remove the center nut without holding the spring, or boom. If your shock stud is just spinning around as mine is, I like to hold it with a rubber strap wrench. That's what I found works best, and if it still spins, clamp onto the rubber strap with some channel locks to hold it further. Once the top plate has been removed, keep track of the order in which the bearings go, then start removing tension slowly from the spring. Keep going from side to side, little by little, until you can remove the tools. Here's the rubber mount, top plate, bearing, and bearing plate. As I mentioned earlier, here are the TEIN springs. They got that flash green color too, which I do appreciate. Here's a comparison between the stock springs and a lowering set of springs. Now we enter into the reassembly phase for the front struts. Spring over the strut, align the winding cutouts in the top and the bottom caps. Put your bearings and bearing plate on top, and if you're lucky, you won't have to use those spring compressors at all installing the new shorter springs. I was able to compress the springs by hand enough to get the nut started. If that happens to you, go ahead and zip them down with your impact. Worst case scenario, you'll have to use the spring compressors, but just a little bit. Here's the new strut assembly and the old driver's side assembly. Installation is in the reverse order of removal. Line up the knuckle mounts facing outward, then toss the strut under the shock tower. Secure with a nut, and the hard part is done. Lastly, we'll install the knuckle bolts, caliper bolts, and anything else that was removed during disassembly. Zip the wheels on and you're done. Don't forget to torque those wheels once they're on the ground, people. Moving to the back. Now your setup is probably much different than mine. This is what's called a Watts linkage suspension, basically a solid rear axle. So this type of suspension works best in a car that you want the rear floor to be relatively low. It gets rid of any shock towers, things like that. And it consists of this kind of pendulum bar in the middle and then 2 rods on either side of it. When the car goes up and down, the pendulum turns and keeps the axle right in the middle. It's kind of an interesting design, but you don't see it a lot on cars these days. If you have struts, follow the instructions stated previously. If not, this is the gist. compress the spring, wrestle with it for far too long, compress the spring some more, and rip it out. Here's the side-by-side OEM versus lowering. Transfer over what was on the spring, compress it, and toss it back up in the housing.
Hey, did anybody else notice I was missing the bump stops right here? With a lowered car, you really want to make sure those are in there. Ah! Okay, good. I didn't need a pry bar for anything. All right, we got that one in there now. So why are these bump stops so important? Well, you've got a lowered car, don't you? So when I put this thing on the ground, these two areas are gonna get a lot closer together than they used to be. And now if we hit a big enough bump, I have the bushing to absorb any impact. If you look at your suspensions, pretty much all of them are the same. If I don't have a bump stop, I'm gonna rely on that shock to bottom out, and that's gonna be pretty rough on it. So if you lower your car, make sure you check the conditions of your bump stops. Here's the rears, as you just saw. Sorry about the hair. It's been a long weekend. Anyway, before you really go crazy, driving your car off-road and all that, drive around on your city streets, make sure everything feels okay. You're looking for rubbing, when the wheels are going to turn left and right. Sometimes you'll get rubbing on the wheel arch of your fender. Hit some bumps. Obviously don't go crazy, but hit some bumps, see what it feels like. Don't forget to get it aligned. Unfortunately for me, I have got to tear this whole car down again because it needs a clutch. So in order to do a clutch, I'm going to have to take the two front wheels off, the axle shafts. Same basic thing we did in this, just a little bit further on. So look forward to that video coming up real soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comment section. Be sure to give me a subscribe if you feel like it. If not, that's okay too. And as always, thank you for watching.